Welcome to Quick Course Digest. Today, we're diving into visual communications. Think of it as the silent language that is all around us, all the time. From the design of your favorite website to the poster for a movie, every single design element is having a conversation with you, whether you realize it or not. So what are they saying? Because trust me, none of it is an accident. Every color, every font, the way everything is spaced out, it's all a series of deliberate choices. Choices made to create a feeling, to send a very specific message, or, to get you to click that Buy Now button. It's all design with a purpose. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to learn how to decode that language. We'll start with a basic grammar revision, then we'll get into the emotional power of color, the unique voice of typography, and the architecture of layout. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to create one single powerful message. Okay, so the first big idea to get your head around is that visual design isn't just about making things look pretty. It's a full-blown language. It has its own vocabulary, its own grammar, and it fundamentally shapes how we see and understand the world. Yeah, just think of every design as the start of a conversation. And like any language, it's built on a few core, fundamental elements. We're about to break down 3 of the most important ones, and we're going to start with the one that hits us first and fastest: color.
Right, color. This is where the conversation really kicks off. Long before you even read a single word on a poster or a web page, the colors have already set the mood. It's like the emotional gut punch of a design, telling you instantly if this is something exciting or serious or maybe natural and calming.
And controlling any color really just comes down to 3 simple dials. First, you have hue, which is basically just the name of the color, red, green, blue. Then you've got value, which is how light or dark it is. And finally, saturation, which is all about intensity. Are we talking about a super vibrant, punchy red or a more soft, muted one? Now, color also works in 2 totally different ways depending on where you're seeing it. On your phone or your TV, you're looking at additive color. Little beams of red, green, and blue light are added together, and when they're all at full strength, they create pure white light. But in print, it's the opposite. It's subtractive color. Physical inks, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, are put on paper and they subtract light. The more you mix, the darker it gets, until you get to black. So how did designers get all those millions of colors, like a dusty rose or a deep navy blue? Well, it's actually pretty simple. They start with a basic hue, a pure color, and then they just tweak it. If you add white, you get a lighter version called a tint. If you add gray, you get a more muted tone. And if you add black, you create a darker shade. That's how one single color can become a whole family of related options. And this is where the real power comes in, because we're all conditioned to react to colors in certain ways. Red can actually stimulate hunger, which is why you see it all over fast food logos. Blue tends to convey trust and stability, so of course it's perfect for banks and corporate brands. But it's not universal, it's also cultural. In the West, white often means purity, like at a wedding. But in many Eastern cultures, it's the color of mourning. These choices are never, ever accidental. Okay, so color sets the mood, but what gives a message its voice? That's where typography comes in. The font you choose can make words feel serious or playful or super elegant or clean and modern. It really proves it's not just what you say, but how the words themselves look that matters. Now, the most basic split in the world of type is between serif and sans serif. Serifs are the ones with those little feet, those small finishing strokes on the ends of the letters. They feel traditional, classic, and they're actually easier to read in long blocks of text, like in a book. Sans serif literally means without feet, and those fonts are clean, modern, and just perfect for digital screens and big, bold headlines. And the shape of our letters has changed right alongside our culture and our technology. It started with old-style fonts that basically copied the look of handwriting. Then, as printing got better, we got transitional and modern fonts with much higher contrast, and that eventually led to the super-functional geometric sans serif of the Bauhaus movement, where clarity and function were everything. But it's not just about the letters themselves. It's the empty space around them that counts too. Leading is the vertical space between lines of text. You can think of it as giving each sentence room to breathe. Tracking adjusts the spacing across a whole word or sentence to make it feel more airy or more dense. And then there's kerning. That's the microscopic art of adjusting the space between just 2 letters so they fit together perfectly. Good spacing is invisible, but bad spacing, oh, it's impossible to ignore. So we've got our color for the mood and our type for the voice. Now, how do we arrange it all on the page? Well, that's layout. Layout is the architecture of the message. It's what creates order, guides our eyes where to go, and makes even really complex information feel simple and easy to digest. And the secret weapon of pretty much every designer out there is the grid. Just think of it as an invisible skeleton of columns and rows that holds the entire design together. It's what makes sure everything is perfectly aligned and balanced and consistent. It's the reason a well-designed magazine or website just feels so clean and effortless to look at. Now, within that grid, designers create a path for your eyes to follow. It's called visual hierarchy. They control what you see first, second, and third by playing with size, weight, and where they place things. The big, bold headline basically shouts for your attention. The subhead gives you some context. The image draws your eye in, and then only when you're ready for the details do you get to the smaller body text. And this whole architecture has its own vocabulary too. You have columns, which hold all the content, margins frame it all in, but the alleys and the gutters, all that empty space or white space, they're just as important as the content itself. They give everything room to breathe and keep the page from feeling totally overwhelming. Okay, so we've covered our three big pillars: color, typography, and layout. But the real magic, the secret sauce, happens when they stop being three separate things and start working together to tell one single, cohesive story. The famous artist and teacher Josef Albers really nailed it. The idea is that no element in a design ever exists in a vacuum. A color looks totally different depending on the color right next to it. A font feels different depending on the layout it's sitting in. Everything interacts, everything influences everything else. So when you boil it all down, it comes back to these three fundamental pillars. You've got color, which creates emotion, typography, which provides a voice, and layout, which gives it all a solid structure. These are the absolute non-negotiable building blocks of all visual communication. And this is the ultimate takeaway. When a designer can masterfully combine evocative color with expressive typography and a clear, logical layout, they're not just making a pretty picture. They're creating a unified message that is clear, powerful, and instantly understood. So the next time you're scrolling through an app or flipping through a magazine, just remember, you're basically armed with a new kind of literacy now. You can see the choices behind the design. You can see the intent. So my question to you is, now that you know the language, what will you see differently?